welcome back to Film Garden, and today we are reviewing the long-awaited, long-dreaded Justice League.
Alright.
I'm JB, by the way. Whew. Alright, so where do we begin with Justice League? I'd like to know, who is actually pushing the machine in Hollywood? Now think about this for a second. We all kind of point the finger at distribution companies like Warner Brothers and Universal and all this shit, when really those studio wankers, they have a responsibility to think about the choices they make and their reactions, their knee-jerk responses to fanboy the fanboy blind spot, I'd call it. The fanboy blind spot. There are these characters in DC that are almost like a team, and I mean like a sporting team, as the Marvel characters also are a sporting team. There's the Marvel fans and there's the DC fans. And it's like with the success of Marvel in that tone, almost kind of the reaction to that from the DC fanboys was almost like this we demand the same kind of success.
The death of certain main characters showed why DC has a grittiness edge over Marvel.
I don't know if they really intended for the studios and creative artists to try and replicate the tone or the wackiness of that world. They went for serious first. So they were just responding to what I think the fans wanted. The DC fan, I know a few DC fans, and they wanted to get the Justice League together. They wanted their success. They kind of were demanding it. I can imagine the pressure and also the seduction of potential money that comes with the fanboy.
Ride ain't over yet.
If the DC fanboys and girls were a little bit more honest to themselves about how bad these fucking movies are. I'm not a fanboy of the DC movies. My favourite character is the Joker. I love the trilogy, the Nolan trilogy is in my top 10, top 5s, blah blah blah. But I will still go and see these terrible fucking movies. I'll still pay my money to go and see the movie just to see how bad it is, but I'm still feeding the machines. And I don't believe that you boycott these things. I think you should be able to go and see a cinema experience, expect it to be bad, and ultimately be pleasantly surprised by your indifference. Because I didn't walk away hating this movie. Okay, so if Suicide Squad, which was totally ruined by the trailer filmmakers who came on board to try and recut the whole fucking thing to match Guardians of the Galaxy's vibe, was a complete misstep, and it was the lowest of the low. It went down below, I reckon even below Batman vs Superman, as bad as that was. So Wonder Woman was a step in the right direction. Granted, I still think it was fucking overrated. I still think, though Gal Gadot was perfectly fine in her presence, but this fucking social media oh my god, she's the embodiment of a powerful woman. Oh, I don't know about that. She's stern. The embodiment of a powerful woman beyond the physical attributes. But that said, about Wonder Woman, her character in this film was she was the protagonist. I honestly feel like she was the protagonist.
The others, where are they?
She seemed like the one that had the nice action scene at the start, which was better than Superman's shitty one, Batman's shitty one. She stopped the terrorists. When you saw Roose Bolton trying to reset the clock by blowing up a school or some bullshit like that. It was pretty funny when she was doing she was blocking every bullet. How could any of these people be under any kind of threat through any fight scene or danger? It's like, she was the main character. She had the action scene. She had a character arc. She had to deal with some demons. You know, I liked the mentions of her past love. You know, that was, you know, that relationship worked quite nicely in the Wonder Woman film. And Batman was kind of like, this time he was the one who was, you know, the wise old man character compared to the last film when he was the one that had to go through the character arc. So I liked that there was a shift a little bit in who was the protagonist.
What are your superpowers again?
I'm rich.
Joss? What kind of fucking name is Joss? It just doesn't roll off the tongue. His little kind of like bits in between, his refinement, they were nice. Because they weren't, he didn't Joss Whedon himself all over the place. Like he didn't come in and just go, okay, I'm going to fire the chef, I'm going to fire the you know, the cinematographer, I'm going to fire the DOP, I'm going to fire in fact the script, let's just rewrite the script. He didn't do that. He actually just did a little bit of tweaking here and there.
The ring.
Nice last little surprise, apart from some of the visuals. Well, no surprise, the visuals were always going to be good, but a little surprise was the Danny Elfman score, which is kind of shrouded with that controversy of Junkie XL being sacked by Joss Whedon, wisely too. Though the score was by Danny Elfman was fucking pretty subpar Danny Elfman, because he was like a scavenger. He just went and scavenged bits and pieces from his old one from Batman, which I appreciated. I love that score. The old one from Superman, a little bit of like Hans Zimmer from Superman. Justice League, the name Justice doesn't bring to mind for me huge CGI, fucking half sheep, half rock, Toy Story-esque CGI monster voiced by an actor I can't even fucking pronounce his name, let alone remember who he is. It wasn't fucking Liam Neeson, let's just put it that way. But then again, so many of these actors have done superhero roles in the past. It's almost like that was the issue I had with the portrayal of Jim Gordon by the dude who was good in a couple of movies like Whiplash.
It's good to see you playing well with others again.
J.K. Simmons, completely fucking forgettable. The levee is breaking in terms of who hasn't been in a comic book film. And when you're starting to see actors crossing universes like Josh Brolin is at the moment, it's just fucking disconcerting, you know? It's like, what the fuck is going on? I can't... So let's just CGI the shit out of people to make them look like absolute nothing. Like, CGI, at the end of the day, is still, for me, in the realms of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. In my mind. I still can't convince myself that CGI is at all, in any circumstances, bar perhaps Avatar, real, acceptable to the eye. It's just something just doesn't fucking translate. And maybe that's something that, you know, that those born in the 80s had to go through that transition, and anyone born after Jurassic Park, you know, this is all they know. And they look back at the plastic Jim Henson shit and go, oh, that looks stupid. You missed the boat, buddies. And your choice of villain, Steppenwolf. Let's look at the two big villains here. On one hand, in Marvel, you've got Thanos. Even the name, Thanos. DC, Steppenwolf. Thanos, Steppenwolf.
Primitive beings.
I'm Steppenwolf. The Wolf of the Steppes. It's German, by the way. German. A German name for a cosmic new god entity. I go by the name Steppenwolf. How fucking bad?
Gotham Harbor.
Out of all the rogue gallery they've got, bring back the fucking Riddler, bring back Mr. Freeze. There is so much more than just a cosmic entity to match Thanos. You're the Justice League. Stick to the streets. But that's the problem when you got Aquaman, who would be governing his kind of realm, trying to do stuff that's in the city. He's literally the fish out of water.
Just like a bat. I dig it.
They should have played it like that. Instead, he was just this big grungy Jason Momoa, who I totally respect as a performer, but he's fucking up a whole bunch of roles just by being cast in them. I mean, he was okay in this. He was okay in this. He was likable in this, but the rumours I'm hearing of him being the fucking Crow. The Crow? Brandon Lee? You're going to step in for Brandon Lee? You've already got face makeup in fucking Game of Thrones. Give someone a little bit slimmer and a little bit more regular the role. Isn't that the whole fucking point of the comic books?
Barry Allen.
Whoever you're looking for, it's not me.
Anyway, Batman. Let's talk about Batman quickly. Intellectually empty.
Maybe temporary.
I don't think there was any sleight of hand detective work at all, apart from having access and having money.
I'm rich.
It was laughable how they were calling back to the Christian Bale, Bruce Wayne, ruggedly walking through these real wild landscapes. Just, let's put him in a landscape somewhere. You can just imagine kind of the creative team going, okay, so we want to kind of harken back to that Christian Bale moment when he's walking in the middle of the Himalayas. So where should we put him? Let's put him in Iceland, because then we can kind of Iceland, Nordic. You can kind of talk to the fish there with looking for Aquaman. So we'll get him, we'll just drop him off right at just not too far away from the tents. We'll just, maybe we'll pull him up in a ski sled, Ben Affleck, and we'll put the beard on him. Make sure the beard's nice. Just kind of walk a little, or just stand on the ridge, and Christian Bale, of course, would have lived in the Himalayas for 6 months in preparation for his role for Bruce Wayne, but Ben Affleck would have just rang Kevin Smith and said, back me up, brother. I'm really curious to see what Kevin Smith has to say about this movie as well, if he's going to be completely honest or if he's going to be another one of those fanboys that we were talking about earlier. Anyway, Superman, emotionally empty, completely. As empty as the upper lip that was betrayed, and we were not going to even bother talking about that. Watching him smile was like watching Edward Scissorhands try to smile. Looked kind of like a grimace more than a smile. I liked his "Do you bleed?" line though. That was pretty cool. Aquaman, as mentioned before, is useless outside the sea. I don't know what. All of these superheroes, they can fly, they're really strong, and they're invincible. So they're literally just the same person.
I made him a promise.
I mean, Cyborg, he's just a non-entity. He's purely just a plot device. I like the little casting reference to Terminator 2 though. The Flash was funny, but he was solely funny. He was nothing else. Comic book narratives are just insanely weird and ridiculous. The level they go to reboot, outdo, to outmuscle, to outshock, to out everything is just beyond bullshit, batshit crazy. The comic book world doesn't translate to film unless you go down the watered down realism route like the Nolans did. There was nothing cosmic about that universe at all. Or you go the Thor Ragnarok / Guardians of the Galaxy super weird shit, which Marvel has embraced, and they did it first. So DC, stay away from doing that.
Shall we?
Put in the jokes every now and then, but keep it cinematically beautiful, keep it to the streets, keep it about the characters and what we love them for. Batman's intellect, Superman's humanity, Wonder Woman's... I don't really fucking know Wonder Woman.
They know to risk their lives.
Beyond those characters, keep the fucking Aquaman to the fucking comics. Don't just feed the fanboys unless you do it well. Like Aquaman, I don't know how you would fucking do that character well. If you're going to go the Jason Momoa route, then make him a fucking Pacific Islander, as he is. And make it tropical, make it fucking like... Put it in a completely different set. Set it in the islands, not in fucking Iceland. Don't make the Atlanteans just Amazonians, just underwater in bad CGI. Fucking build a culture on that. Don't just shove it into a movie just to kind of give the character a little backstory that we can forget about 5 minutes later. Or it's just another little scrap for the fanboys. I've established a little bit of a verdict system here. Let me introduce this. First of all, I'm going to rate things 1 out of 10. Each number represents a certain actual aspect of my judgment. If I give this a movie a 10, it is in my top 10, and that means there can only be 10, and maybe things get shoved around and I'll have to rearrange things, but you know, the top 10 kind of goes in and out. But if I give a movie a 10, it's in my top 10. If I give a movie a 9, it is a masterpiece, in my humble opinion. If I give a movie an 8, it delivered the goods. If I give a movie a 7, I will feel it's underrated. If I give a movie a 6, I would feel that it's overrated. If I give a movie a 5, it means that I'm completely indifferent. 4 is disappointing. 3, the studio's fucked up again. 2, Scheisenhausen. And 1, it's in my bottom 10, which I haven't even thought about, but I might give some thought to. So this movie, as a rating, I would give it 5, absolute indifference.
You really believe that there's some stored up conflict that exists between us? There is no us.
Shall we?
Thank you for watching. This is Film Garden. I'm JB, and class is out.